Welcome to Hypnosis Hero, the show where you can get hypnotized through the screen by our hero. All of that said, we've had a few technical glitches. We are on a little bit late, so we do apologize for that. You may only be seeing us on YouTube. If you're seeing us on Facebook, let us know, because that's interesting. If you are, that's really awesome. It's been a really awesome week. We were able to confirm our guest tonight, and let me tell you, I've known our guest for a long time. She is definitely a class act, and she's got lots of cool stuff on the go. So speaking of guys and gals that have cool stuff on the go, let's talk to our co-host emeritus, Mr. Brian Bay. There he is. Look at
Hey,
that.
good evening, Sean.
Dude.
No,
All
that's
right.
we got the Hockeytown Hypnotist, Tony Gerlando and Scott King. Tony's asking, is this where all the cool people are? Not all of us. We have one more to join us. We will get to that lovely individual shortly. But Sean, I want to take a minute for. Oh, let me turn my. There we go. Light on. Want to talk about current events for a quick second. Want to send out some love. I've got some friends that are down in Kerrville, Texas, that are kind of ground zero for all of the flooding, and they told me it just looks like an absolute war zone down there. The good thing about it is there's lots of relief, lots of help, a lot of just the residents and neighboring states and counties. Everybody's trying to pitch in to help out. So, good on them there. And we just want to send out, some love and thoughts and just uplift everybody that's out there and whatnot. So that's kind of the latest and greatest that's been going on. But also another quick announcement. Jim's stepdaughter, Yang, graduated with her master's in healthcare administration. So we saw the post probably about 30 minutes ago. So huge congratulations to you, Yang. We are so excited for the next chapter of your life, and we'll still manage to get you into the hypnosis craft and all that stuff. So other than that, weather's good. Motorcycle runs. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, and I can say the same here, except that I don't have a motorcycle.
That's all right.
That's my choice.
Yeah, you have to sell the house first and have a place to put it.
That and our illustrious government somewhere along the way decided that licenses and license plates for motorcycles needed to be really, really expensive.
Oh wow!
Yeah, like we're if you have a motorcycle and you're licensing it, depending on the bike in this province, your plates are probably going to cost you somewhere around $600 or $700 for the season. And remember, because it's the season here, and nobody drives them in the winter apparently, and
that's snow and ice thing that tends to be unfavorable to two wheels.
Listen, we do have people that actually pedal their bikes to the universities in minus 40. So
they got those fat tire mountain bikes.
No, it looked like a pretty regular mountain bike to me, but
okay.
Yeah, it's always amazing when your bus is kind of sliding on the road and there's a bicycle driving up right beside it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
actually, I'm looking at at Facebook, and I do not see the watch live video option is not working. So
okay, that's what I figured.
We're gonna have everybody migrate over.
Yeah, that's our technical difficulty, Scott. It was all Facebook's fault. We'll blame it on Meta today.
Yeah.
Taking some freedom from your government. Yeah, we tried. We came real close.
Yeah. Pierre just needed a little push.
Foiled again. No, it's definitely coming. I think the stuff that's starting to happen now with our government is very telling, and the people that voted for them probably are realizing, oh crap, we shouldn't have. So,
it's like the Hangover. We effed up.
No, it's all good. We'll get there. We'll
we
get there.
we still like the Canadians, and the open offer of joining the U.S. still stands. We would welcome you guys with open arms.
That's going one extreme to the other.
Yeah. let the politicians fight it out. We just like one another, and I'm fine with that. But we've got an awesome guest.
We do indeed,
and we do not want to keep her waiting, lest she curse and swear at us and other things as well. I believe you put money on our guest.
Well, yes, and there's a backstory to that, and we'll tell you that as soon as we introduce our guest here. So
yes.
So you know what? It's easy money for me, and I'll take 50% of the gate too while we're at
it. Sean's gonna four-wall this thing while I get four-walled.
Well, you know, I'm preneuring here.
Oh God, okay.
Yeah. So our guest tonight, Kacee Picot, is the founder of Hypno Awakening, an integrative hypnotic coaching practice helping high achievers and people in recovery move from feeling stuck to living the highest versions of themselves. Sober for over 34 years, Kacee combines hypnosis, NLP, and the law of assumption, and we are going to talk about that tonight to help clients.
That's part of the backstory.
Yeah, it's part of the backstory. Help clients break free from limiting beliefs, intrusive thoughts, and emotional barriers. She is also a stage hypnotist, and a darn funny one at that, bringing transformation and laughter to her audiences, and is passionate about showing people how to use self-hypnosis to navigate life's challenges, deepen faith, and step into their true power. So all of that in mind, please welcome to the Hypnosis Hero podcast, once again, Miss Kacee Picot.
Good evening, darling.
Okay, so how do we get this live on the Facebook platform? Because I sent like 100 messages to people to say, hey, join us. Here's what we do.
So I put a post, so everything that you shared goes back to the event link. And then on that event link, I went in the discussion, I went, everybody migrate over to YouTube. Here's the link. Cool. Facebook's not playing nice today. So
isn't that funny? Yeah, Facebook is bitchy.
And Kacee, Becca from England stayed up so that she could watch you and give you some love. So
we missed you in Vegas. Are you coming this year?
She better.
Awesome.
Or we're just going to tuck her away in Grant's luggage.
There you go.
But she's got a Becky. When you come out to Vegas, this is the lady that you want to meet because she's got the morale officer, Mr. Brewster Bear.
That's right. We forgot to mention that in the bio.
Yeah. How is our buddy doing?
He's a miracle bear. You know, he was diagnosed with hemangiosarcoma January 25th of 2023. And hemangio has an average lifespan of 86 days. So it's a terminal blood cancer. And he had scans in April, and he just passed 2 years and 5 months a couple of weeks ago.
Cancer free. So he just has his little fatty lumps and.
Well, it's a blood cancer, so it's in the blood. It just has not. I don't even say he has the thing. I say he has a diagnosis. So I'm very aware of dissociating from, like I do with clients. So if someone comes in and says, my anxiety, my OCD, my whatever, stop that right now.
Yeah.
The thing that used to be a problem, right?
We're going to solve the problem.
Yeah. So I don't even say he has the thing. I just say he has a diagnosis, and he's a miracle.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. A friend of mine had, prostate cancer, and went through the treatment, and late last year they said, hey, we checked everything, no signs of cancer, I'm cancer free, all of that stuff. So I'm fingers crossed for Brewster to be with us for many years to come.
Yeah I think at this point he will die with this diagnosis and not from it.
Yeah,
that's my plan.
Like, okay, it's in his medical record somewhere.
That's his plan.
Yeah, that's and we are all going to be just absolutely, we all have a finite shelf life on this universe. But when it's his time to get drafted to the big leagues and hang out with Jim,
Dude, it's a
like
win.
we're
It's
all
a
going to
win.
be we're all going to be gutted, but at the same time we're going to be like, hey,
But
he earned it.
2.5 years since his expiration date. So if it's today, it's a win. It'll devastate me, and it's a win, right? So,
Mm-hmm. But no, on to Kacee, you have got some exciting news with a story since last time you were on, and I kind of want to tell a little bit of the backstory.
Okay, I'm not sure what backstory you're talking about, but go for it.
There was a wager that we had in kind of a mutual challenge.
Was there?
Well, I think the slang term is called a gentleman's bet, but we're all. It was between two colleagues that it was sort of a race of who was going to get their first show or first stage show solo done first.
Really?
And I was absolutely thrilled to lose to you.
Oh, it was between you and I.
Yeah, that was kind of the running joke of like, all right, who's going to get it first? I'm not sure if Joe Beth let you in on that.
No, that's news to me.
But
so I did my first show a couple months ago. My second show, I did it at a 12-step group camp out a couple weeks ago. The first show was spectacular, sold out, great. People laughed, they clapped, they left reviews. The second one, I couldn't get the music to work. And the music's a big part of it. And I only had 3 subjects. I thought there were going to be 100 guests, and there were 40. So you typically get about 10%. So I had 4 people come up. I pulled one out, and I was left with 2 adults and a child. And it just was painful. I
roll right into street hypnosis and go, all right, let's just have fun.
A little bit. And I just kind of was like, at a point, I just kind of counted them up and called it good.
It went, ta-da.
I was like, where's the trap door? I want to fall through the stage. It was brutal. So my next show is on Tuesday. And I've gotten a new sound system. I'm all excited. I'm going to have a sound tech there, not a DJ. I just need a body double, so I can say, is this the right chord? Is that the right? So all the new setup is all brand new chords, and everything is there's no.
Yeah, you'll do a sound check and
any of that stuff. So it's outside. Of course, anything can happen on live TV, right? So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Just like tonight.
Cool.
But yeah, I remember you were stressed. I think in all the right ways, meaning you were trying to get stuff done. There were just some logistical challenges, and then also scheduling. And you would reach out to me going, I can't get these effing things to shoot in the right thing and on iTunes.
The technology just jacks me. So I have all the music in the laptop. I've got the Eventbrite link going. I'm advertising on Facebook. All the things are happening. So this one should be a little bit easier is my plan, because 2 days after my show, I'm going to talk at Hypnothoughts in Vegas, which is the largest hypnosis conference in the world. And my talk there is on sometimes the steps aren't enough. So it's for clients who are in recovery from life, right? Recovery from, you name it, alcohol, addiction, drugs, porn,
insert
sex,
vice here,
codependent, all that stuff, right? So, because I've been in the steps for a long time, and I see people go through the work and they're still just not free. There's still something, they just are like, still not having great relationships and I feel like a lot of that is things that aren't covered by the steps, like there's some inner child work maybe, or some trauma that needs to be resolved. Through the steps we go through and we clean up our past and we clean up our side of the street and we apologize and make amends and fix things. And, but sometimes there's just stuff that doesn't get dug deep enough, I think.
So,
right?
it kind of sounds like the 12 steps are meant to be like a one size fits all. If you do these things, magically you're healed, but everybody's situation is different. Is that?
Well, if you do these 12 things, there's pretty much a guarantee that you will get sober. It doesn't guarantee you'll get happy.
Yeah.
Right. And your sponsor is not a therapist. Your sponsor is just another drunk in the room. Right. So, there's people have a lot of expectations, and there's a lot of shame if people go out. Some people are shamed, and some people just feel a ton of shame, and that a lot of that is their upbringing. There's the stuff that they haven't processed or metabolized those emotions yet, right? So I just noticed that people just still are not comfortable in their skin, inside and outside of the rooms. And so I've kind of created a bridge between the sobriety and the sovereignty, sort of, right? So, it's I don't really necessarily work with people that are actively drinking or actively in their addiction. They're not relapsing. They're not doing the thing they used to do, but they're still not free, right? They're still living in fear or shame or some invisible role that they didn't even choose that.
Do you find that people will trade their vice or their addiction for something else, whether it's shopping or, hey, now I become a workaholic because I'm trying to fill that void?
Exercise.
It sounds like you're helping them kind of transition into a better balanced life.
Yeah.
Where they can go, all right, I can focus on stuff that's, I can hide from my drinking by hanging out in the gym all the time, but I still don't get to socialize. I'm still kind of a hermit, which is
ideally you don't want anyone to hide from their issue. You want them to peel the Band-Aid off and
fix what the root cause.
Right. So, and it's for people that are like, some people don't want to say I'm an addict or I'm an alcoholic, or why would I continue to say that to myself forever? I don't agree with it's a disease model. I don't want to go to meetings. There's a mindset that 12 steps are shoving religion down your throat, which is absolutely not true. Some people say, I went to meetings and it was depressing, or all people talked about was wanting to. I've never been to a meeting where people just talked about wanting to drink, because if I'm in that meeting, I'm shutting that shit down and going, oh, no. We're talking about the power of God in your life today. We're not talking about your divorce or your wallpaper or your babysitter, whatever. We're like, if you're not going to drink, let's work on the people that really are here because they're scared they're going to drink, So, but that's not what this is for. So, some people don't want to say they're powerless. They're more exhausted, or they don't want to believe in a higher power. So it's like, okay, then let's have you believe in your higher self.
I like that.
I believe in something. I don't want to necessarily say there's a guy in the sky, right? So there are a lot of labels and a lot of reasons, excuses that people don't stay in the 12 steps. And it's not that they don't get sober or they don't get clean or they don't get their codependence handled because they didn't want it enough. They wanted it. They were here in the meeting. They were trying to get it, right? Maybe there's just something that it's not addressing that can be addressed through hypnosis and NLP and other things, right?
Right.
And recovery is evolving. So like a lot of people don't even call it addiction anymore. They say substance abuse disorder. So there's the neuroplasticity of, and I'm not sure anymore if the disease model is accurate. Is it genetic? Is it environmental? I do believe that once a person I'm using alcohol, for example. Once a person has drank to a certain amount, we, in the program, we say, you came in as a cucumber and now you're a pickle. Once you've done a certain amount of maybe brain damage, body damage, I'm not sure what that line is that has been crossed. Some people can't go back to ever being a normal drinker, right? But if they're just a heavy drinker, sometimes it just takes a big event, a divorce, a DUI, an arrest, a breakup, for them to quit. And they're not actually, and never were, an alcoholic, right? But
it's kind of that one thing that just sort of snapped them back into reality of like, look, you need to.
But for people that have the real allergy, it's like the alcohol in an alcoholic that has the allergy to alcohol turns into acetone in the body. And acetone in any body will make them not think clearly and make them agitated or, aggressive or whatever that person's allergy response is. So it's like if someone said, I'm allergic to strawberries, you wouldn't eat the strawberries, right?
Yeah, you're like, not without an EpiPen or something.
We don't eat it for the taste. We eat it for the results, right? We like the way we feel when we drink. So, not everybody that's sober is recovered, right? Some are just dry or they're angry or confused or completely shut down. right? So those are the people that show up in my office that, like I said, 12-step work is for working with people who are actively drinking or trying to quit, newcomers. This is more for people who've been around for a while and they're just like, I'm not loving, like, I didn't get sober to feel like this, And some of my clients have never touched a drug or a drink in their lives. They're recovering from trauma, from toxic roles, from chronic people pleasing, from abusive, they're codependent, right? And other things.
which,
So
which could be equally as addicting, I imagine.
totally. It's,
Where they're trying to find some sort of something to make up for it.
Yeah, we get addicted to a life we don't like. We get addicted to the chemicals of complaining. We get addicted to the chemicals of worrying. We get addicted to the sky is falling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So unless we change that story, we just keep grinding the story deeper and deeper into our subconscious, telling the story 100,000 times. We know that story by heart. So like, Melissa Tier says, we got to put a roadblock. Stop. We're not going over that again. You can do that in your therapist's office. But in this office, this isn't therapy. This is thought changing, we're not doing that. Right. So this bridge is kind of, it's depending on the person's, everything is customized, right? So some people, if they don't want to say they have a higher power or rely in a God or Allah or, then I kind of steer more towards, there's a program called, it's a Buddhist program for recovery Dharma. And It's more your higher self, right? It also has a process of cleaning up the stuff, because like if you're beating yourself up for something that you never apologized for, or something that you never forgave yourself for, or holding a resentment about something that happened, and I'll never forget when they said this. If you're just hanging on to that and you don't even know it, and that story is running your life, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it shows up in other areas. And when people are in trance and we can, peel off a few layers, sometimes that comes up. And as you know, the issue is never the issue, right? So,
right. And so that brings up a question is, how many people do you, or how common of it is an issue where you talk to a client and they're like, yeah, I've done through the steps. The people that I have wronged, they have all forgiven me, but I'm still holding on to this guilt or shame or whatever because I'm not able to let it go. And then second, do you ever run into stuff with kind of a younger age demographic where they're like, hey, you know what? I don't want to do the 12 steps. I just want to come to you, do the hypnosis, download it into my brain. And then in, 90 minutes, I'm going to solve this problem and I can move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So the first part of it is not many people come and are still carrying a ton of shame after they've done the work and have made amends and apologized, or what we say, clean up our side of the street. And a big piece of that is I don't clean my side of the street and sweep it onto yours. Right.
Right.
You really go in and you start anew, and we're no longer accepting apologies. We're only accepting changed behavior. Right. So, So don't go make that amends if you're not going to stop doing the thing. Right. A lot of times the thing happened a long time ago, so you're already not doing it. But one of the things that I in step work and with this work, it's like, what, whatever it was that you were doing when you're in your disease, your higher power forgives you for everything you've ever done. Mm-hmm. And he loved you while you were doing it. And that's hard to receive when you're sitting in your own shame. It's hard for people to let that in sometimes. So if they don't feel worthy of healing, they won't do the work. Yeah. Right. If they don't think that they are worthy of being at the same level, because we're either better than or less than a lot of times, right? When we're in trauma, in our disease, in our illness, in our, when we're struggling with our thoughts and we get scared, we're not in a powerful place, right? So, and I assert that we are in two thoughts, or only two thoughts. We're in a powerful thought, nurturing, in our resource states, or we're in suffering, primal, struggling, survival skills, right? We're scared or we're thriving. That's it. Neutral is thriving. Bored is powerless, right? There isn't really a neutral. It's either we're in a good thought or a not healthy thought, right?
Right.
A lot of that, if we're in a scared space, we're either worried about the past or worried about the future, right? So above my front door on the inside of my house, I have a thing that's
Kind of like a fight or flight almost.
yeah. We're in fight or flight, or we're in a resource state, right? So above my door, I have a thing that says, pray about everything, worry about nothing. But some people don't have a higher power. So that's when that kind of Buddhist, that recovery Dharma bit comes in. But a lot of it is based on maturity dramas, right? People that don't want to lose weight, that haven't quit smoking, that they just haven't leveled with themselves. So a big part of my conversation in my screening process is I'm going to help you level with yourself, and it may not feel good, but unless this happens, you're going to keep doing what you're doing, right?
It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be pleasant, but I care enough about you as a person to go through this with you.
It may be fun and it may be pleasant, but I love you enough to tell you the truth.
Right.
And you can choose to, like, it's like, okay, here's the situation. Here's what you want. I've got a solution, right? To get to where you want to go, right? There's a solution. You see yourself in the solution. You see yourself in the outcome. But what if you don't do it? Where are you in 5 years from now?
You're like, why are you gonna pay me to fight me on this?
Right. But if you choose not to do it, and you already know you're on this trajectory that's, if it's depression or if it's anxiety or if it's fear, or if it's, whatever the dark stuff is, or if it's weight. Okay. So it looks like you're averaging 5 to 8 or 10 pounds a year. What's going to happen in 5 years? That's a lot of weight. So to help help people level with themselves, there's a lot of conversation in that of, like, really see yourself in the future at the fork in the road. You're on the dark fork right now. That's why you called, right? I have a solution to put you on the green grass, but I can't make you take that turn. So a lot of that is just maturity drama. And it seems like the more money people have, or the more smart, more education they have, they think that they don't really have to level because they've been able to buy their way out of it. Or
I was going to say, you could just buy your way out of it.
Or outthink it, like I had a friend this week who lost one of her very best friends, who was she needed a liver transplant. She'd been on dialysis for a while. The brother thought he was going to give her a part of his liver. And I'm like, and she's still drinking? Okay. Any responsible doctor won't let her have this surgery.
Yeah.
And they were all in denial. And she died.
God,
she died 2 days ago. 53 years old. And it's, she had numerous rehabs, still married, so had the insurance. They didn't kick her out of the house. She had delivery to bring the booze to her house. Still on a transplant list for somehow, I don't know how any doctor would, I'm guessing they thought she was on a list, and she was never on a list, because a doctor's not going to give an active alcoholic an organ of any kind, especially from someone who could actually survive and live a good life with it.
Or it's like, yeah, you're technically on the list, and when we look at you, we go, yep, still drinking, hasn't made any changes, not a candidate. Okay, next.
Not on the list. So they loved her to death. They loved her to death. People like that, sometimes they need to get grass stains on their head. They need to get their teeth knocked. They need to hit a bottom, right? So when people don't level with themselves, it's shocking. You've seen it with clients where they're still making excuses and they're still blaming. And it's like, we're here to change that pattern, because, what we do as hypnotists is we recognize patterns.
Well, it's they loved her to death, but it's tragic that they didn't love her enough to do the hard thing.
Exactly.
And I've been in positions where I've had to call the police on friends.
Sure.
and it was more of, hey, can you come have conversation with this individual, and if you guys determine that that person is safe to drive, just from a legal standpoint, I've at
Yeah.
least got clean hands and
Exactly.
somebody with far higher authority than I do. But
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of pause you real quick and kind of circle back to some of the comments.
I can't see them.
So Becca says, "Oh my God, yes, she wants to meet Brewster, and she really wants to come to Vegas." So Becca, we're gonna hold you to that. Start putting money away now for airline tickets, and talk to Grant. Scott King says, "Kacee, you've had some great success with four-walling some stage shows after working with Scott McFall,
Yeah.
and can you tell us how you're filling those events?"
Yeah.
And I've got one more I'm scrolling down, from Tommy G. Orlando, the Hockeytown hypnotist. He says those slips up are where we are really put to the test. And he goes that he's really glad that you got through it. And Mark Burris says booze dehydrates the mind and the body. I like that. And so we've got some links. And then Becca says that you basically are speaking the truth with everything that you just said. So that's kind of, and then Mark Burris says Facebook still says starting soon, but Mark, we're glad that you are part of the faithful that have migrated over to YouTube for this evening.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's and if I recall correctly, Kacee, you've got a little bit of kind of like an empath component to you,
sure,
where you're like,
yeah,
I know, like, I've got a solution. I've got an answer to the ailments and the stuff that you're complaining about. And then people go, well, I'm going to continue to find a problem for every solution that you're offering. And you're sitting there going, how do you not pull your hair out?
I can't, that's part of, carrying the message. I can carry the message. I can't carry the alcoholic. Right. Yeah. So we call the sponsees, we call them pigeons because they're carrying the message. Right. I've done some screenings where people just are not ready to take the turn. So they're going to do a little more research, and that's fine. And I don't try and hunt them down. I'm not going to beg anyone to play with me. Everyone is responsible for their welfare and their own well-being. And when they're ready, if the seed that I've planted is what they need, they'll come back. If someone's ready, I can't say anything wrong. And if they're not ready, I can't say anything right.
Yep.
Right. So, and being sober for a long time, I've seen people come in and go out and you name it, every end of the spectrum. I've been in codependence recovery for a long time as well. And started with, in the 80s, I think my first event might have been Og Mandino with The Greatest Secret. And I went to Wayne Dyer stuff, and I've been to Landmark Forum and Louise Hay and Shakti Gawain, all kinds of processes just to feel different, feel better, So I've got a lot of experience in this, helping people feel better genre, right? I'm a Reiki master. I worked with Sandra Grace for that. And I've done some coaching with her, and I work with people who have sexual performance issues that I learned from Kaz Riley. And I've taken some insanely incredible classes, like Ken Guzzo's intervention class. So many pieces that have made my process I'm almost like sometimes when I have someone in front of me, I'm like, let's see, what do I want to pull out of my little bag of tricks today? I've got so many solutions,
Yeah.
So it's
Jack of all trades, right?
Yeah. Well, I hope I'm a master of this now after these years. But a big part of it also I want to pull in is the law of assumption, the Neville Goddard bit.
We're getting to some backstory from our introduction
earlier. Before that, though, So you were there at the Performing Hypnosis Summit.
Uh-huh.
Scott McFall taught a class on stage hypnosis. I had only seen him he was the keynote speaker when the first year of Performing Hypnosis Summit was online. And I'd never heard of him because I really was HMI trained, which is College of Hypnosis in California. And then I went into Hypnothoughts, and I haven't seen him at the Hypnothoughts. So that was just my two little kind of bubbles.
Refresh my memory real quick. He did a pre-conference training and then a post-conference training.
It was a 4-day, 2 days before and 2 days after.
Okay. That's what I wanted to.
One class.
I was like, was it one class? Yeah.
And then the weekend, the Performing Hypnosis Summit was the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? So he had 2 days before and 2 days after.
Okay.
This guy today's his birthday. He's exactly my age. Mm-hmm. He's been doing hypnosis for 40 years. Since he was 11, he learned it, right? Mm-hmm. His hypnosis vocabulary is like none I've ever seen. You name it, he's done it, seen it, fixed it, helped, done. He's just literally a wizard. I was like, who are you, and how come I've never heard of you? Like, oh, I thought I knew everything, right? What an education! Holy cow! It was very humbling, very enlightening, very. I feel like I learned in 4 days what I'd learned in 4 years. So if you have a chance to work with him, take advantage of it. Like whatever, just he knows what he's doing. He's also a magician and a mentalist, and he's been a live performer since he was a teenager, since he was in school as a child actor even. So he knows what he's talking about, is basically my point. And so when Scott said, how did I get my first show? I took that class with him, and I had taken all the classes and a bunch of stage stuff too. Great stage classes I've taken. But a lot of those guys were like, here's kind of a format. You want to do a few of these things, but don't do my stuff. Don't steal my show. Don't do my bits. Don't do this, right? And I'm like, what am I doing, man? I don't know how to write a show, And so the first question Scott asked everyone in the class, why haven't you done a show? Why haven't you done? What do you mean you haven't done? How come you? Everyone was like, stage fright. I don't know what to do. And I was like, I'm not afraid to get up there. I just don't have a show. I'll pay someone to write a show and I'll memorize it and do it, but I don't know where to start. And he's like, okay, take that off the table. You're going to memorize my show, do my show 25 times, and then you'll know how to do a show. And I was like, are you kidding me? So
yeah, it's interesting when people say, don't do my stuff. And I've asked a handful of people that are, seasoned performers and everything. And I'm kind of like, what does that mean in the industry? And they're like, okay, the hot, cold, you're on a rocket ship, you're in a rock band, like everybody's doing that. But what they're talking about is like the things
signature pieces.
Yeah, like the one skit. It's like don't do that, unless you're and then claim that it's yours.
Well, we know people that have word for word copied people's show. I mean, like you could play the 2 videos in this word for word. You could almost take the 2 shows and it's one show because the person copies every single word, every move, every nuance, all this, the blocking, everything. Mm-hmm. That's not cool. I just didn't know how to write a show. And
it's not cool unless you have permission from the person who came up with it.
And nobody would give you permission except for this guy, Scott, right? And I'm sure that if he performs a show, he's not performing the show he's given me to memorize.
Right.
Right. So with this, I'm able to add things and finesse it and make it funny, to add things, take away things, plug things in. So it just gives you kind of the science behind why you do the hot and then you do the cold and then you do the group and then you do, because if you try to put a group on stage and you're like, you forget your name, they're wide awake. They're not going to forget their name. So there's a process that gets them deeper and deeper and deep. And with each level of depth, you can do something that's a little bit more phenomena, but you can't do it up front.
And then at the same time, you're kind of getting the audience to go, all right, here we're stepping up our game. And then the audience is like, all right, we're going to participate now.
Yeah.
We'll do the round of applause. We'll make the noise.
Yeah.
We'll,
And I like this show. Part of it, I turn to the audience and I say, ladies and gentlemen, the people on stage are in various states of hypersuggestibility, otherwise known as hypnosis. They're not asleep, and that word sleep triggers something really funny behind me,
Mhm.
And so they're part of the show. So my back is not to the audience the whole time talking to the volunteers. It's interactive and it's funny, and if I don't rush it and give the volunteers some time to do their funny,
Yeah.
it works out a lot better.
And being on stage is an absolute trip. And I remember doing shows with together with Jim.
Mhm.
It's that like you're trying to stand sideways a little bit so you can throw the microphone in front of them so that they can talk, pull it back to you, you can ask a question, and you can kind
Yeah.
of play people off of each other, and
Mhm.
that way they're just not staring at your backside.
Right.
Because then you've got the show is great for you, and everybody's like, oh, she must work out,
Right.
type of a thing.
But it's not about me. It's
Mhm.
if I make it about me, I've missed the mark, dude. It cannot be
Yeah.
about me. It's got to be about them, and they are the stars of the show, and they are the using their imagination and bringing out their visions, and it's a rush, dude. It's fun. It's scary. It's still scary for me.
I still remember the first time Jim was like, hey, come up and do 10 minutes.
Right.
I got up there and I just started doing stuff, and it felt like I was up there for about, if you asked me how long I had been up there, I was like, I don't know, 60, 90 seconds, maybe tops. And, I'd look over and Jim's kind of jazz hands and, hey, time, like, let's wrap this up. And I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, all right, cool. Last part of the skit. Cool. Thank you, everybody. Back to Jim. Here you go. And he goes, yeah, dude, you did 15 minutes.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh my
yeah.
God. But
That's the
so
time distortion of hypnosis.
I go back to my seat and kind of just hide. And then when he, jams off and does the end of the show, and I ran back to it was Laughs Comedy Club in Seattle.
Oh,
I
cool.
ran back to where he unplugged his stuff out of the sound booth and just bear hugged him. And I'm like, dude, I am just amped on level 20.
Totally.
And he was like, dude, you did awesome. He goes, you were crushing it up there. That's why I just let you kind of roll with it.
Yeah.
And, the crowd was digging it too. And
Yep.
I'm like, all right, I don't want to go back on stage again. Like, do you have a show after this? Even
You
though
get
I
in the
already knew,
zone,
I'm like,
right?
no, it's yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's bar 30 across the street. But
Right.
no, it was so much fun. But there's so much stuff to, be cognizant of. Like I had the wired microphone. So it's like, all right, how do I not trip over the cord? How do I have
Right.
them not trip over the cord?
Sure.
And everything. But Israel, Israel says, fantastic. Much love to you, Brian, Shawn, and Kacee.
Hi, Pumpkin.
And he's got some threes and some trophies, and I'm sure there's a code there. But yeah, Israel, another just wonderful supporter.
Oh my God. Talk about a baller, right?
Israel's a trip.
He's been one of my biggest cheerleaders, and I'll call him and he answers the phone every time I call, and he's got just these, like, I need to record this because I know I'm going to get handed a fistfuls of gold here, and I'm only going to have the bandwidth to collect 2 of them. So let me record this, because he's got so much information, so much knowledge, and so much just.
And I've got to playfully tease Israel. Like it's like when I get on the phone with him, he's like, "Oh, dude, we got a ton of stuff that's coming up." Oh, great.
Yeah.
What's up, man? I'm excited for you. All right, so I'm going to tell you later on, like the next time that we talk. And I'm like, dude, you're infomercialing the shit out of me right now. And so Israel, I say that with a ton of love.
But wait, there's more.
Exactly. It's like, oh, dude, I'm jumping on a flight. We got a jam, but it's. I playfully give him a hard time because, he'll reach out to me and call and check in, and it's usually, hey, I'm going to lay over at the airport. I've got a few minutes to chat. Just want to call and see how you're doing, and he's checking in like he's a friend, and that means something.
Yeah.
So, I was kind of, I don't want to say irritated, but I was like, dude, since Vegas, we talked about like, oh, end of April, we're going to be out there. I'm going to be right just south of Seattle doing this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, cool. Week before Israel, when do you get into town, man? And then when he's supposed to be here, hey, when do you get in town? And it's nothing. I'm like, oh, dude, he just totally ghosted me.
Came and went.
And then I talked to him like a week and a half later, and he's like, oh, dude, we totally had to skip that show. I've been back east. I've been buried, blah, blah, blah. He goes, I didn't even come out there. I had to, I think he had to go down to, he went out to go see Tom Silver.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
was running around back east. And I'm kind of like, oh, okay, now I don't feel bad.
That was a fast journey.
Yeah.
Know?
Oh God. I wish I could have been there, but I feel fortunate that I had some time to talk to Tom, one-on-one in between my surgery and his hospital stays and stuff like that. But
I'm thrilled that he has handed the baton to these two guys, these young guys that have integrity and knowledge, and they will make him proud.
It's kind of cool that we, kind of our, I don't want to say our core group, but the people that I have met in the last two conferences, and then even some of the friendships with people that I've been introduced to through Jim and through Shawn, everybody that I've met has their attitude has pretty much been like, yeah, reach out. How can I help?
Exactly.
It's not.
I think it's a hallmark of our profession. They know that they got their start based on somebody else, and they can pay it forward. Also, when you look around and in talking with Tom, and I don't think I'll be out of line saying this, I know Tom and Jim were going to start something where Tom was mentoring Jim on a few different things before Jim passed away.
And us going through the laptop has revealed some little seeds of that. To support that.
Things were in motion already, right? And when I talked to Tom, he said, "Yeah, I'm so bummed that Jim isn't here. I was going to be his Orman McGill." Well, who mentored Tom? It was Orman McGill, right?
Yeah.
And so Tommy and Israel have inherited some of those pieces of history and can take them in and move them into the future. The process continues, right? And so even for us, even though we've only done a few shows and Brian and I, of course, still have the podcast going, it's all designed to keep moving the profession forward, to keep building the profession up, and to let the rest of the world know that we actually are professionals. We've done a lot of training. I mean, Kacee, you listed off like 4 or 5 different people that you've trained with. There isn't any one of us that hasn't been mentored by somebody, or as you said just now, hasn't been able to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I've got this idea." We just did it this afternoon in the Aisha call, International Stage Hypnosis Association. And that was actually kind of a different kind of a question. We're talking about doing a show where a large contingent of the people that are going to be there are visually impaired,
both on stage and in the audience.
Exactly. And now
so
how do you
physical comedy? How do you describe physical comedy to someone who's blind? It was a really interesting conversation. And I will say that, everyone, the men in the group, the men in the business had Ormond, had Erickson, had other men to kind of learn from. The women didn't. So the women in the Aisha group are like, oh my God, so generous to share because they had to dig their own way. They trudged their own path to figure it out. They didn't have a lot of people saying, here, let me help you up the ladder, because it wasn't always this generous. There were a lot of people that were very, fear-based and don't take my stuff. I don't want you to come. If you're coming to see my show, you're coming to steal my material. So there wasn't that openness that there is now. You know, it was a very guarded group with the women. Like for women to come up in the ranks, it was hard.
Oh yeah, and
So now they're sharing with us. It's the Aisha women's group is spectacular.
And I think that it's there's an aspect of be aware that if other performers are coming to your show, especially if they're not invited or they don't check with you and say, hey man, I'd like to come and see your show. Usually there's a professional courtesy that there are some slimy people in this business that they'll
like if I hadn't learned that, I wouldn't have known to say, hey, I'm coming. Like as a newcomer, I wouldn't think that person would care that I'm there or know who I am or who do I think. Like, so to learn that was a big piece. I didn't know that was the proper etiquette, you know. So that's what going to conferences and hanging out and being in these conversations with other professionals, you learn. I didn't know anything about safety on stage until I took Michael C. Anthony's course, you know, and then Colin talks about safety on stage. And now everyone talks about safety. Well, I didn't even know that was something I had to think of. And it's the biggest piece, you know? Be funny, but you better be safe. Right.
Yeah. And Christina J., the lady hypnotist, says, if somebody is ready, I can't say anything wrong. If they aren't ready, I can't say anything right. She says, Kacee, I love it. So Christina, thank you. And then she also says that she's super glad to be on with us tonight and joining us. So thank you, Christina, if you'd like, let me know if you'd like to come on the show and kind of share your jam.
You need to be on.
We'll make that happen. We'll get a link sent out to you.
We'll find out who next week's guest is fairly soon.
I'll tell you what, there are at least a dozen women in the Aisha women's group, and shame on you if you don't have every one of them on here.
The scheduling link that you have, Kacee, share that with them.
Oh, good.
They can go on and say, this is when I'm available. Awesome. We'll coordinate, and we would be absolutely honored to have them.
Awesome.
And Scott,
you know, because these girls, the girls that are leading it they're doing, you know, this is their most form of income. Like Deanna does both cruise ships and corporate and clinical, but
Deanna's a trip. Deanna's pretty awesome.
Recently, I think at COVID, went back to doing some clinical work, and now she does both, just because she likes to travel. And I'm like, oh my god, I want to do corporate and cruise ships. That sounds like so much fun. That is so me. I can't wait.
Deanna could put on just like a quick workshop of here's how you shove 5 pairs of shoes, 6 outfits, and whatever into a
piece of luggage.
Into it, 8.5 by 11 piece of carry-on, and be like, oh yeah, it's got my makeup and I'm going.
And her shoes are legit, dude. They're big shoes.
Oh, she's got like heels.
Yeah.
And she's already got legs that go up to her neck because she's.
Oh my god.
She's got to be 6.
Tina Turner. She gives Tina Turner a run for money.
Yeah, she's got to be 6'13" or something like that.
Right? Yeah. Legs go all the way up to her ass.
But kind of going back to what you were talking about, like with Tom Silver and, you know, a lot of the people that have been there, done that, and are trying to uplift, you know, in the, what was it, in the Legends Roundtable, I think Kevin Lapine said it best. He goes, I'm where I'm at because I stood on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
And then that's where I kind of was like, every single one of you guys at this table are the giants now that you're helping us lift up onto your shoulders and elevate the next class and everything like that.
I agree.
And I think we, as the newer generation of performers, meaning, you know, we're kind of the rookies, we owe them a duty of care along with our clients, but we owe that duty to the profession to go, hey, your guys' time was not wasted on imparting your wisdom upon us. We're actually going to do good with this
and run with it. Yeah.
I carry that reminder with me every day. Where is it? Brian's going to make a joke about this.
Have you guys had Nadine on?
Yes, we've had Nadine on.
Cool.
I don't have it with me. It's in the room.
Oh. It's on Sarge's other neck.
Yeah, it's around somebody else's neck right now. No, it's not. Anyway, what I did do, because Brian, you're absolutely right, and I've heard you say that, like, I don't know, I want to say 4 or 5 times already.
It's like a bad summer rerun.
No, it's the constant reminder that we're here because somebody asked us to be here.
Yeah.
And now that it's ours, we need to run with it. We need to care for it, nurture it, grow it. All of those things. And so when I was at PHS, I picked up just a little bit of a trinket, if you will, and I wear it every day. And when I put it on, it's like, okay, this was a sign to me that Jim had faith in me to do.
Awesome.
Get out there and do.
It's your circle of excellence. What is it? What's the next?
Yeah.
What's the
Well,
piece?
I will have to go grab it. So if you bear with me, I will go grab it. But the other piece that I want to say, Brian, is because we're here, we have to be prepared, and we have to prepare ourselves for that next generation.
Yeah.
And
They're going to come up and say, "Hey, Brian, how do I get started doing this? Hey, Kacee, I had an absolutely horrendous show. How do I get through it? Shawn, this AI tech robot thing needs to be fixed. What do I do?"
You call Scott King. Well, I mean,
every captain needs a Mr. Scott.
Yeah, somebody asked me, Brian, where do you come up with the whole, pay it forward thing? And I go back to after I got out of the military, I was applying for a lot of different law enforcement agencies, and part of that is the oral board interview, and they were like, why this profession? You aside from getting to drive fast, you wear a cool uniform, carry a gun, and everything like that, this notoriety. And I kind of went back to,
what was the profession?
Law enforcement.
Okay.
And I said, everybody who, I know what it's like to have to ask for help. And, my father was there in more ways than one throughout my life to help me out, kind of keep me out of trouble. And was there when really push came to shove, he stepped up. And throughout my entire life, I was like, I want to do that one thing where I'm like, Dad, everything that you did was worth it. This is my way of saying you didn't waste your time.
Yeah.
And, law enforcement didn't pan out for, one reason or another. And, God's got his plan.
Or maybe it did. It did. You've completed that contract, and now it's opened up the next.
Oh no, I never got hired on with any agency, but
and maybe that's exactly how it was supposed to happen, or it would have happened.
Yeah, that's like the higher power. They've got their plan of like, all right, here's your unanswered prayers.
They want you to join the largest gang in the world, Brian.
Yeah, and so
the church.
I already joined the military.
You're CMP.
But those now I'll never forget the first time that I actually hypnotized somebody who had a fear. And a lady found a snake in her garden, and she goes, "Hey, who's that hypnotist that you were telling me about?" And I was like, "Well, Jim's at a show right now." And she goes, "Oh my God, I'll pay $500 like right now." And I was like, "Well, I'm at the office working late, so if you want to drive down, we'll kind of goof around with some hypnosis stuff, and then we'll see what we can do." Mm-hmm. And I remember she called me. I was like, "Just let me know that you drove home safe." And she called me, and she was in tears, and she goes, "Brian, my friend found this little garden snake, non-venomous. It's Western Washington." And she goes, I'm so thankful. She goes, I imagined everything. And then when I rounded the corner into my neighborhood, it was like I saw my house for the first time and fell in love with it all over again, and the fear and all that stuff. And she goes, "You have no idea. Like, I was panicking going, I have to put my house on the market. I'm in mid-construction on the renovation. I'm going to lose money. I have to relocate my kids and fight a court battle with my ex-husband, blah, blah, blah." Is
there a snake in the yard?
Yeah, she was like super deathly afraid of snakes. She was like, nope. And like I said, little tiny gardens.
Burn it down. You don't need all that shit. Just burn it down.
Yeah, it's like this little like 9-inch garden snake that was probably big around as my little finger. In her eyes, this is a 30-foot anaconda that
set the house on fire. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, I'm like, collect the insurance claim. As long as somebody else does it, she's all right. But that was the thing where I'm like, this person called me in tears
Mhm.
out of gratitude.
Yeah.
If
And it
that didn't
changes
make it,
perspective,
if that doesn't make you feel like a Harry Potter wizard,
right?
you
If
know,
it can be
it's
changed by a perception, we're in. We're good.
yeah. I'm like,
Golden.
where's my wand that I had in my
Yeah.
hand? This is
Yeah.
amazing.
That's that smile that we get, that look of, I was carrying the weight of the world, and now I'm not,
Yeah.
at the end of a session or a series of sessions.
Yeah.
When you see that, you realize that everything that you just did, all the time that you spent with this person,
Yeah.
was so worth it.
My first arm raise, my first hand raise, I was like, I wanted to take a picture. I was like, it works. It's magic. It was
And then in Kacey's, the voice inside your head was like, wee.
totally. It's just such it's such an honor to be trusted by people with something that's a scary thing. Like I'm ready to sell my house and leave my husband because there's a snake. That's legit. To her, that was a real option, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
to be able to change a perception like that with just words.
yeah. She was like this. She was like, after my divorce, like this was my first. She was a nurse, and she was like, this is my first thing that was mine.
Yeah.
And I'm making it my home, and I've got, I'm not renting anymore. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that was pretty powerful. And it was just like, I got all jazzed up, and
Sure.
I was kind of, there was a part of me, I'm like, I don't deserve this. Like, I'm kind of equally as surprised as she was.
Sure. I know,
But
right?
it was such a cool feeling. And so like when we would go out and do street hypnosis, Jim would be like, Brian, why aren't you doing this like on stage and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Jim, I'm having fun just goofing around with people. And then he was like, you could make some real money with this. And it wasn't until.
And you can make some real change.
Yeah. And it wasn't until after the first summit that I went to, or first conference that I went to, that I met everybody. I met Grant Saunders for the first time, and Sean, and just starting to see him like, hey, there's people I've talked to on the computer. I get to see him in 3D.
Right.
This is pretty awesome. And then it was after the second one, it was like, all right, I can, talking to Joe Beth, and he was like, I'll help you do
Jesse
this.
Lewis, have you talked to Jesse?
We've had Jesse on. I have.
Yeah,
I have not had a chance to link up with Jesse one-on-one. That is on the to-do list. But I finally was like, all right, I want to. Yeah, I'm like, I want to make this a.
And Jaden Boone, have you met Jaden Boone? He's a kid in Australia. He read a couple books, watched something on a movie,
and is one that I do want to have on.
And he just went with it. He's like, I saw a show and I went and I've been doing it ever since. Or I read a book and I've been doing it ever since. I mean, these kids are really smart.
Yeah,
coming up with really cool skits and really using their imagination to change perceptions with people. It's just fascinating.
And so I talked to Jim, right before the holidays, and it was like, all right, we're going to do conference 2025. We're really going to start booking shows and kind of hit this really, really hard. And when Yang called me and was like, Jim's not with us anymore, like it was that biggest gut punch. And
Sure. Oh my God.
I remember reaching out to you guys. I'm just like, guys, it feels like yesterday, but that we had to make the announcement. And then I'm looking at a calendar going,
and shame on you if you don't run with that.
Yeah, I'm like, in a couple of weeks, we're looking at, being in August. Yeah. I'm like, this year has just absolutely flown by. So
I know.
Yeah, trying to get a couple of things knocked out. So I've been, getting the surgeries and stuff.
No, is Brian frozen or is it me?
He's frozen.
All right. Well, we'll take this opportunity while Brian's frozen.
I disconnected.
There you go.
There you go.
Am I back?
Yeah.
You're back.
There we go. So that's the pendant that I bought at PHS.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Was that one of the things that Jim got for you?
No, I bought it at PHS this year.
Very cool.
Oh, okay.
We had one of the vendors there that had all sorts of trinkets and jewelry and whatnot. And that one, I was looking and I took my time. I actually lingered probably a little too long. Grant was probably looking for me for some tech help or something like that. But as I was looking through, it was like, yeah, this is flashy, yeah, whatever. And then there was this, and I thought
Perfect.
it's understated enough that it's like Jim.
Yeah.
But it also shows that it shows the quirky side of Jim as well. So
Mm-hmm.
and so I thought that would be the perfect memento to take away from this. And so I didn't leave the house today, but when I do, it goes with me everywhere now.
Yeah.
And again, it's the reminder that I haven't used it that way yet, Becca, but that doesn't mean that I couldn't use it in an emergency.
So I'm looking at the Facebook page up on the other screen here, and Tommy G. Orlando just sent me. He goes, "Hey, this is for all of you to enjoy tonight," and it's a slice of pineapple up and down, laid flat, and it's got pepperonis and little shredded cheese all over it. And I was like, pepperoni belongs on pineapple. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't think the judges have ruled on that one yet.
Pineapple, jalapeno, and mushroom is my go-to.
There we go. Now we don't have to do friend or frenemy.
I was going to say.
That has been my go-to for 20 years.
Oh, God, but we like you anyway, Kacee.
Yeah, I know.
It's called civil discourse. But no, it's God. I'm really looking forward to January. Now I'm enjoying warm weather while we have it, and time on the motorcycle. But yeah, it's been. Yeah, I'm Kacee. I can't tell you how proud I am of you with your success, because I remember you were like, grumble, expletive deleted.
I want to do it. I just don't know what to do.
I've only sold.
I can't do a show until I have back of the house sales. So I've got 300 audios to sell.
Yeah,
and then I needed the equipment, and then I needed and I had all the excuses to not do the show. And then I
remember you were freaking out. You're like, I've got 5 people signed up or tickets sold, and I was like, sweetie, you're like a week and a half away.
My show is in a week, and I've got 7 tickets sold for this one, and I just know now it's going to happen in the last 20 minutes, and it'll all be fine.
And I remember you were just stressing. We were trying to get the sound or the music to upload to whatever sound stuff you were going to do, and then you're always like, okay. It was like a day or two later, I saw sold out, marvelous show. It was excellent. I think the one hiccup was the trumpet for the horse race bit, and you're like, it's like a 5-second clip, but then he just kept the DJ kept looping it. And
a race, you only play that. They play that and then they run. It's like the firing gun before a running race. They don't keep shooting the gun while they're running.
No, if you're half in Afghanistan, you do. It's like, ah!
Perhaps.
But
I was going to say, or a Western.
I'm just like, and I was so amped. Like I came home from whatever I was doing, and I popped open Facebook and was checking email, and that was just right there in my first thing I saw. It was like success. I'm like, yes. And I think I jumped on the phone and called you. I'm like, oh, she's still up. And you were just like, I'm flying high right now. And
it was so cool.
Now I got to go get on an airplane to Florida.
Yeah. It was awesome.
But yeah, that I was genuinely
your turn. You're the last holdout, dude.
Yeah. So I was genuinely happy and excited for you. And
okay, so when's your show? Because you can't be coming in January if you haven't done a show. You're not allowed to come back.
No, I'm gonna have a show done before that. So we're looking at a couple of different venues, and potentially something at the Nile Shrine Temple.
Okay.
And so it's trying to we just had our the divan, which is sort of the executive leadership, went out to Atlanta for the Imperial session, and we're kind of working through a couple of things coming up for our haunt season in October.
Good.
And it's just kind of getting some stuff in place, mainly in insurance and
I'm on an app
like
that you can get bookings. It's for gig
masters
players. No, the Bash. And
Yeah.
I got a request for the incoming freshman at CSU in Colorado Springs. And I was like,
yes,
we'll see if they book it, but I don't know. But I was like, yes, available. Let's do it.
Bid. Don't try to underbid it. Put a good number out there, and a university like that has money to pay you to do stuff.
Sure.
Sure. Talk to Salish, talk to Chris Jones.
Yep. I already sent it. It's all good, and we'll see if they reply.
Fingers crossed, and may the Brewster be with you.
I know, right?
It's
he must have gone out of the room.
Christina says, I've already signed up to be on the show. Can't wait. Joe Beth sent me the link. All right, Joe Beth with the assist.
Awesome.
Yay for networking.
Oh my God, she is darling. You're gonna love her.
Oh, I can't wait.
I want to be her.
You want to be her?
Oh my God.
Or you want to be on the show with her? Because
no, I want to like, she's got so much confidence on stage. She does all kinds of really cool, I can't think of the word.
Skits and
hallucinations, like negative hallucinations where she disappears and the Coke can is moving and they're like, whoa!
Oh yeah. They start tripping out.
Really ballsy moves that I'm not there yet, And she.
You're just like, I'm the human green screen. I just disappear and
it's awesome. She's so good.
Pick her brain and go, hey, what's the best way to introduce that and make it your own?
Well, with my first show, the two things that I really wanted to happen didn't happen. One of them was you'll forget the number 8, and she didn't forget the number 8. And the other one was when I come back and talk to you, you'll stutter really loudly. And that girl didn't stutter. Possibly because she was from a foreign country, maybe didn't know what the word stutter is. But when I talked to Scott, he goes, oh, you got to pick people that are really under. And I was like, oh, yeah.
So question, when you said to forget the number 8, did you tell her, picture the number 8, it's, erase it, and or did you just say you're going to forget the number 8?
I said, you'll forget the number between 9 and 7. It'll be just completely gone from your mind. It'll slip your mind. When I ask you to count, you're going to totally forget the number 8.
Okay. I've had success with having them imagine drawing the number between 7 and 9 on a whiteboard, pick up their hand and kind of move it around like, hey, touch the palm of their hand. Hey, there's an eraser. You're just going to erase the number between 7 and 9. And as you erase it, your hand falls away, temporarily gone from your memory. And then on the stuttering, I would probably say, person I'm touching now, you have lost the ability to speak clearly. You're going to stutter. Kind of give them a little example. And and if that's helpful, give it a shot. It's either going to work or not.
Right.
And one of the things
I know we've discussed it either in Hypno Hustle or it was somewhere about which number should people.
Yeah.
Maybe it was last year. You know what it was? It was last year. Christina would back me on this because I think we were sitting around the table and
I do the lower numbers.
Yeah. Jake does the number 2 and he'll go, how many feet do you have? And they're like, 3.
That's exactly it. Because now,
how many boobs do you have? 3? I mean, it's really funny.
Yeah. The number between 1 and 3, the number between 3 and 5.
Well, some people say the number a bunch of times, and I feel like I'm going to anchor the number if I say it too many times. Some people say the numbers around it, and then I feel like they're looking for the number in between, and I'm going to make them think too much about the number in between.
Well, I'll tell them that they'll count 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Right. Yeah. And you count it really fast and go right past the number, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's how it goes.
I will have people that are resistant to that. So usually they are accountants or business people.
Yeah.
Where numbers are important.
That's why you say just temporarily.
Yeah. That Jim gave me that suggestion. He goes, yeah, they were probably like, he's like, what does she do for work? Oh, accounting. And he goes, yeah, she did her job, like her livelihood depends on this. So it was, you tell them, hey, this number is gone from your memory temporarily until I give it back to you, and we will give it back. Then they're kind of like, all right, cool. Yeah.
And then I had one lady that by the time we got around to her counting the third time, because all of a sudden she's got 6 fingers on one hand, and then she's got 11 fingers, and it's like, well, wait a minute, let's count them separately, and then there's 12 fingers. The next count, she totally lost the number. She was on like 444,228. Like she was gone.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Or you could just go, you have lost the ability to count sequentially.
Oh, she I didn't
1, 12, 65, 92.
Gone.
Yeah.
Yep. And I had one guy up there acting as Mr. Know-It-All. I said, "Hey, can you add that up, Mr. Know-It-All, and let me know?" He said it was a fucking lot.
That's awesome.
That's something that I would put in my contracts going, I can do a clean show. I take absolutely no responsibility for what the volunteers say.
Yeah, right. I told them it was going to be PG. Everything was going to be good. But these are firefighters. And
right.
It was let's just say that show would lose monetization about 5 minutes in. It's like, okay, well, we're just gonna roll with it. I mean, it is what it is. So
that would have been a great show to do Jim's kind of signature bit. You are missing a piece of yourself.
Well, yeah, we did. That was the show where I had one of the firefighters that lost his belly button, and he just got right pissed off at me, like, you probably fucking stole it. So after a little bit of banter, magically all of a sudden it came back, and I said, "Here, do you want me to reattach it?" And he said, "No, give me that damn thing." And reattached it himself. It's like, okay, well, whatever.
Here, let's
it's backwards.
Here, let's do the super glue. Here, I'm going to put it on your finger. I need you to put it back. But there's some extra super glue stuck to your hand. Now your finger stuck to your belly button, and then you got to unlock it with your ear, and then you just go into something else. And
So the next round of skits, as things were going, I said, well, we should probably put things back the way that they were, because I have a lady who can count to 400 and some thousand on her fingers,
right.
And I said, well, let's start putting some things back together. And so I said to that particular firefighter, I said, look, like, you found it. You're so overjoyed. It's kind of a makeup moment where, we'll be fine after this. And he said, "Oh no, come here. I got to give you a hug." And he grabbed me and pulled me right onto his knee. which wasn't the funny part. The funny part was when I got up, all of a sudden I felt this, on the backside.
Oh, he gave you a little good game.
Here's the bear.
Attaboy, buddy.
There's Brewster.
Oh.
He's camera shy.
Where'd he go? Brewster, come on up here.
There he is.
Oh, that's a boy.
Yeah.
That's a Brewster bear.
Well, anybody who comes to PHS Live, you get to meet Brewster in person.
And he is softer than he looks.
I tell him when I give him a bath, I'm like, I wish you could feel how soft you are. He has no idea how soft he is.
Yeah.
So juicy. Yeah.
He's like, I've got calloused paws. I can't.
I know. I got him some booties to walk on the hot asphalt at the farmer's market.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I've had kind of some questions about those, because dogs will usually dissipate heat through their tummy, their paws. That's why you'll see dogs just wade into water and they're like, I'm going to stand here.
Mm-hmm. Because
if they go swim, all the blood vessels in their back where it just radiates off constrict, and that's not good.
Right.
But
so I'm not sure if Becca's talking about me or Brewster.
I'm sure it's you.
Well,
she said something was cuddly. That's you. Definitely you.
Oh, definitely Shawn. Definitely Shawn.
He's a snuggle bear.
6 minutes to walk. There's fish sticks on Wednesday.
He's a good little spoon.
Definitely Shawn.
Cool.
It's all good. Okay, so we've covered all of that. We've covered shows. We've covered website. You mentioned that you have over 300 audios now.
So I took Scott's class. He helped me learn how to articulate, how to speak, how to get the microphone, how to edit, how to take out the extra sound, take out the mouth clicking, take out all the background noises.
Oh, this is Scott King.
Scott King.
We should
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
I did the same thing.
Oh my God. What a great, he so over delivers. So then he asked me to be the voice for his audios. So I recorded a ton of them, over 300.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have them to sell on my website, and he has them, and you can have them on yours, my voice on yours if you want. So,
yeah, I've got my voice
mm-hmm.
on mine. We are actually gonna go and redo. We're gonna upgrade some stuff to a little bit more clearer sound.
Cool.
So
that Sennheiser mic was the one.
Yeah. Well, I think this was more on without giving away too much of the secrets, kind of on the backside production of things.
Got it. Cool.
And so yeah, it's and then you know what, I'm comfortable kind of making a little sharing a little bit of an announcement. Is I've kicked around the idea because I have Jim's new book. And what I'm going to do is there's some stuff that I need to do for some of my own audio where I need to just read stuff. So I'm going to basically record me reading Jim's book aloud, and we will figure out how to convert that into an audio book with chapters and things like that. And anything that any sales that are generated out of that, we will direct that to Jim's widow.
Sure.
Just to help out with that, because you know it's Jim's work product. I'm just going to be the voice.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to a couple of people about maybe doing a little bit of a forward or anything like that to kind of tell a quick little anecdote about Jim or something like that as sort of like some bonus material. So
yeah,
that's definitely going to be in the works, but we will announce that when it's released.
Right. And I hope about the book stuff.
Yeah, I hope that everybody likes my voice, because you guys are gonna be stuck with it.
Yeah, that's good.
So, but awesome. Yeah, that's
cool.
And then, Kacee, do you have any other events besides your show coming up, Hypno Thoughts? And
I give my cards out everywhere. So I was at an event this summer, a Strawberry Days event, and I talked to the people that run, like the town of Glenwood runs it, and I talked to the woman about doing a show next year. So I'm gonna follow up on that. And I think that doing free talks. So like I ran into a guy there that was in the Kiwanis Club. So if I do free talk with them, free talk with Rotary, a free talk with, I've spoken to a couple of golf courses. And that's a really good way to get shows and clients, right? So I've got a couple people to follow up with this week about coming to do talks in the golf course for their clients. But it was curious because the 3 golf pros I spoke to at 3 different courses were all like, I want this for myself. Can you do it just for us in the office? And I'm like,
if you promise a golfer that this is going to make their game better, they will throw money at some of the dumbest stuff in the world.
I know. And this is not dumb stuff. This is legit stuff, right? So, yeah. So those are my, that's what I've got in the works right now. And the key to when the show bombs, the key is to have 5 or 6 shows already booked after that in case it bombs, so that you don't just go in the hole. Like if something's hard and scary, you want to just, I was like, where is the trap door? I want to burst into flames right now. But I have another show booked, so I've got to just now to change the, focus on that, and then focus on the next one, and focus on the next one, and just keep them coming.
I think that's where that's kind of where I see value in street hypnosis, because if you're like, all right, sound is gone, and all I've got is just me and a microphone,
or not.
Okay, I've got something to fall back on where I'm like, all right, here, we're gonna roll into, look up, look down, bang, boom, and people want to see the
microphone.
Yeah. Oh, the microphone crapped out on you.
You might not even have a microphone if you're doing
yeah.
Oh, you mean my show when I was doing it?
Yeah, I'm like if
I carried
the
on with the show, but
yeah,
I was, I couldn't do an Elvis bit without music.
right.
And the person left by the time I got to Elvis was an 8-year-old kid who doesn't know who Elvis is. So
Right. That's another thing that to be aware of. Like I know uh I had the privilege to watch Salish and Michael DeShalit come up here and do like a week and a half worth of grad night shows, and it was 2 shows a night.
awesome.
And of course Salish, talked to the people that were running all the sober grad night things, and he was like, well, Jim Kellner, and this is who was studying under him, and so I've kind of taken Brian under my wing. Do you mind if he kind of acts as a safety? And the guy was like, yeah, totally. Salish are a god. But Salish does this bit where he's like, okay, hey, you guys are gonna dance to you're the greatest dancers and whatnot, and he goes, okay, you're gonna Minecraft dance. I'm going, what the hell is Minecraft dance? I don't even know what that is. And then you see the kids going up there and they're this and the floss, and I'm like, oh, okay, well now I've seen it, but I didn't know that it was a Minecraft thing.
Well, he's got a young son who would know those things.
Yeah, and so it's kind of tailored to the audience, because it's like if you go in there and you're playing 1980s stuff that they don't
you
know,
go to a high school right now and they won't know who Michael Jackson is,
which is kind of sad.
They won't know who Michael
it's
Jackson.
little sacrilegious, but it's yeah, you play a Journey song and everybody knows that, but it's kind of tailoring some of those skits to your audience. If you go into middle America and you're playing some of the hip hop stuff, they're gonna be like, we don't listen to this.
Right.
You go into a super urban area and you're playing
country,
country music and Luke,
you have to be relevant.
Luke Bryant, or it's they don't know, and they're just kind of, people look at you and go, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it has to be relevant.
And so I think that's, and in talking to Chris Jones, he's like, I have a little book spiral notebook that I leave out, and I go, hey, put down skit ideas that you guys would like to see. And he goes, I take it about 10 minutes before the show, and I kind of flip through some of the ideas and go, can I understand what they're asking for? Some of it is, no, that'll get us all thrown in jail.
So he asked the audience?
Yeah, it's kind of ideas. And he goes, but Brian, this is just
solid
ideas.
Gold.
I've got just idea stuff. How can I tweak this? I can't do this at a high school,
right,
or a college, but I might be able to do it at a private show where they're like, hey, a 21 and up, where they're like, hey, we can get away with some stuff, but he will still do very, very clean shows.
Sure.
And Chris is just I cannot give him high enough praise, because there are times I just would call him and he'd be like, I'll text him, like, hey, are you available? I will be in an hour. Or can we chat, awesome, tomorrow or something? Then he goes, hey, my kid's stuck watching a movie or cartoons, or just so buried in something. So, hey, I'll give you a call real fast.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, Chris Jones is the hypnotist that was on America's Got Talent. America's Got Talent?
America's Got Talent, and hypnotized Howie Mandel and sent him to therapy.
Shake his hand without a glove on.
Yeah.
So that was a big...
Have you seen the follow-up video to that?
Where he's in the audience of another show and he goes, I'm the guy that hypnotized you?
Yeah, and then Howie Mandel was like, oh, you're the hypnotist on America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, I remember you. Yeah, fuck you. and everybody laughed, but it was that comic, I hate you type thing, but not, there was no malice behind it.
Right. Yeah.
It was like, okay, that comment is going to land in that crowd, because the demographic of everybody that was in the audience is like, I remember that.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
But
I mean, these guys are, he does shows all over the world, and you can just call him up and he'll answer the phone. That's what I mean by the generosity of the people that we're, in company of. Is just shocking to me. It's so.
I've got another Chris, real
so
quick.
Approachable. Yeah,
I've got another quick Chris anecdote. we were over at Catherine's house, Catherine Hickland, and I popped on Facebook Messenger with a friend of mine back here in Seattle that just kind of going through some rough times. But he's a psychologist, and I did Messenger because then I can turn around and click on video, and I'm like, hey, here's all the
cool memorabilia. So Catherine
cool
Hickland,
memorabilia in Catherine's little home museum that she's got.
So Catherine is married to Fisher. What's his first name?
Todd Fisher.
Todd Fisher's Carrie Fisher's brother. Carrie Fisher was Princess Leia. And her mother is Debbie Reynolds, who was in all the things.
Gone with the Wind?
No.
Oh, Wizard of Oz.
No,
that's
Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the Rain.
Yeah, and they've got millions of dollars of Hollywood memorabilia. They've got the shoes that Dorothy wore in the Wizard of Oz. They've got the Maltese Falcon. They've got R2D2, C3PO, the cameras from that they used to shoot
all over the place. Some of the most historical
they used to shoot
stuff.
The Godfather. I mean, just it's spectacular memorabilia in this home. So to be at her house and to be able to flip it around and see all this memorabilia behind you is.
And the generosity for her to welcome the
40 people, 40 strangers into her home.
Yeah. And the first time I met her last year, she was just like, thank you so much for coming out. So kind of back to the phone call with my buddy, I'm on video and I'm kind of showing him around. I'm like, dude, here's the prototype for, the blasters and the, a lightsaber from Star Wars. He's like, dude. Yeah. And I said, oh, hey, remember I was telling you about that guy from America's Got Talent?
This is him.
And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, Chris, hey, dude, you got a quick second to say hi to my buddy? And I'm like, and my friend's like, dude, oh my God, hey, like this so nice to meet you. And he goes, oh yeah. I was like, this is my buddy who's a psychologist. And Chris goes, hey man, we need more people like you to support the hypnosis industry because your credentials and your professional designation give credibility to what we do on the therapy side. And my friend, who will remain nameless right now, I get back on the phone and I come home and he's like, dude, you put Chris on the phone and he said that and my mind just exploded.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he goes, that just uplifted me and took my mind off of so much stuff
into the outcome.
And here it is,
just outcome, instead of sitting in the story. What's the outcome?
Just the stuff of just the stuff of someone's generosity. How don't underestimate your ability to improve somebody's day. And if you have a chance to do it, never pass it up.
Yeah. And when Catherine does her show for us, she's testing out new material, and she's so clever and so just endearing and so sweet. And God, she's good. Her mentalism stuff is spectacular, and her voice, and she sings, and you're just like, oh, punk. She's so endearing, what, just everything about that piece of the summit is so amazing to be able to be invited into a home like that with people like her with so much talent. She doesn't need us as an audience. She doesn't need to test anything else. She's just checking new stuff out and giving us the opportunity to experience how she does her show and not saying, no, don't go steal this. Right? She's just like, you guys, what do you think? Do you like this? Do you think this is good? Should I do it? She's just delightful.
And she comes from just a history of acting and performing,
soap operas, and
I haven't really had an opportunity to sit down with her kind of one-on-one and just go, all right, I'm curious. You went from TV and movies. You've got you've got all the money that you need to live a wonderful, happy life, yet like, why mentalism? Why hypnosis?
Why are you touring?
Why continue to go out on the road and everything when you should just be vacationing in comfortable places with umbrella drinks and just seeing the world? And I'd be curious to see or to hear the answer. I have a kind of an idea, just based off of my gut feeling and kind of very, very unprofessional and unreliable analysis. Is her desire to help, be around people. She's just like this social butterfly, just the host with probably the most class that I've ever really come across.
Yeah. And performers have to perform.
Yeah. And
that's where she gets her battery charged.
Yeah. Like the first time I met her, you know, she was the little Hawaiian rolls. She made sliders with this like pulled pork or whatever the meat was that was just absolutely delicious. And she sees me going and taking a scoop, and you know, she's taking the food away to bring more out and everything. It's like she's busting her own table.
Right.
And it's in her own kitchen. And she says, "How is it?" And I said, "Catherine, this is not fit for human consumption. Tell the others, spread the word." And she kind of goes, and I said, "Because that way there's more for me." And she's just like, "Oh my God." She goes, "I love that. Come That's here." Awesome. Gives me a big hug. And
such a doll.
She acted like it. I don't want to say acted. When I saw her again back in January, it was like
you're the only person there.
It's so good to see you. And she takes the time with each individual person to go, "All right, let's take a picture. Let's do this. Let's come here."
Yeah.
And like Jason O'Callaghan was there from Ireland, just cutting everybody up.
God,
I get a kick out of him and
he's so funny, so dry and witty, and
Alexi and Jaime,
again, hilarious.
I mean, and it was just, you see some of these guys. I think I saw Jaime down in New Zealand. Pretty sure it was him. And he goes, "Hey, here's a thing, blah blah blah. Already 1 million views on TikTok."
Whoa!
In like overnight, and I'm just going, God. And then there's Merge McVeigh puts out stuff, and he's like, "Oh, this is 1 million views in 4 days or something like that." And I'm going, all right, I'm doing something wrong here.
Derek Watson, spectacular.
I'm like this. Yep. I'm this close to putting on gray sweatpants and just being like, all right, send it. Let's. But it's just absolutely mind blowing to
the talent that we're surrounded by, and everyone is so humble. Tracy Gray, oh my God! If you get a chance to go out at Hypnothoughts with Tracy Gray on the street, she runs the crowd like she's so comfortable. She's like, come on, you guys, get up here. And she'll do a bit, and she'll guess a number, and they fall out. And she's just like, okay, come here. I mean, she's so smooth, you know?
And it's hard to mix things up because the first time it's a trick or it's phenomena, and then the second and third time in a row, it's a lesson.
Right. She is just rock solid, man.
But the cool thing is when you're out doing those things, and where does she go for the street hypnosis in Vegas? Because I know Fremont, they're okay. So it's probably much more.
The music is blasting. Their cars going honking. It's loud right there in front of Bellagio.
And it's much warmer in the middle of summer than it was when we were there, and it was 36 degrees outside.
Yeah,
which was wild to me because it was not that cold. The first year I went down there with Jim.
Yeah,
the first year I went down there, it was just absolutely perfect weather, pleasant.
It's the desert. It's freezing at night.
Yeah, I was like, I did not expect it to be this cold.
Yeah,
it was. I was expecting it to be like, all right, if it's 70, 75, upper 60s, like it'll be comfy, but almost like the sun went down and it just went teeth chattering. And I'm like, it's not supposed to do this here.
The hammer came down.
And there are still people, cold beer, cold cervezas. Right, you guys want? Right. And I'm like, you guys can sell snow to Eskimos. All right, you're doing something right. But
I'll tell you what, I'm in Aspen, and there's a Paradise Bakery here. They have a line out the door, down the block, 10 below. It doesn't matter. Ice cream shop has a line down the block.
We actually at McDonald's would sell a fair bit of ice cream in the middle of winter.
Every day of the year.
40, I need a sundae.
Yep.
Well, there's probably a lot of people that are like, you know what, I'm in Aspen. I'm going to get this like world famous ice cream just because this is probably the crux of our trip.
Good. Yeah.
People were walking by Bellagio were like, okay, we want to go to the fountain. And then there's a Starbucks with Grant Saunders and his latte on the corner. And we can get hot coffee there and hot cocoa and everything. No, we don't want to stand out here and freeze our asses off.
Right.
And
funny.
But it was, yeah, I wanted to get down there to Hypnothoughts, but I'm like, Las Vegas in July. I just
Dude,
got
you're in
back
air
from
conditioning the whole time.
I just got back from Florida where it was 98 degrees. So you go down to Florida a lot, right?
Yes.
It was absolutely mind blowing to me where I step out of the car, my sunglasses fog up, and I've never had to use the windshield wipers in the middle of summer to take the condensation off of the outside of the windshield
Yep.
with the wipers. I'm like, this is wild.
Yeah.
People don't even bother to shut their cars off when they fill up with gas. They're like, all right, gas cap off, gas nozzle goes in, and
I don't
start
know the
going.
last time I turned my car off to fill up.
But yeah, the air was so thick down there, but the drive up through Alabama and in Tennessee was just absolutely gorgeous. And
Cool.
you guys all have some wild weather down there.
Right?
And what part of Florida did you go to? Remind me.
I'm from Lauderdale, Miami area, and my boyfriend lives in Sarasota. So now I spend time on the West Coast, and it's like California. It's so civilized and beautiful and bougie, and the food.
How far away is that from Fort Myers?
Hour.
There's a place called Seed to Table down there. It's a grocery store with a couple of bars in it and everything, but eating areas. But you go to the meat counter and they'll ask you, is this for here or to go? So you pick out this 20-ounce steak and they go, if you want it here, how do you like that cooked? What size do you want? Here's a little puck of, like, where you go to Applebee's or whatever, your table is ready.
For here to go.
You go sit anywhere and they will cook that steak perfect for you and bring it to you. And then they've got live music inside. They've got American flags. They stacked up all the Coke and drink cans and everything to make a 12-foot tall head of a bald eagle. I mean, it is just America in there. And everything is all, very, very fresh. So think of like a Whole Foods, but like
steakhouse,
privately owned. And it's like, oh, you got seafood in here. How do you want that cooked?
Wow.
Sam, here, we will bring you could go do some shopping, and it's like, we will bring you dinner. And there are people that just go in just to eat or go do breakfast. And a friend of mine introduced me to that and was like, Brian, this is like your personal little Mecca down here. It's cool. It's amazing. So I'll find it on Google Maps and message you with that. But yeah, the thunder and lightning is wild.
Oh yeah.
We did some fishing off of Port Richey, just north of Tampa.
Yep.
30 miles offshore. The water's 30 feet deep and it's like bath water.
Right. It's
wild. I had heard
yeah.
myths about that. And I'm like, if we had that in Southern California on the West Coast, I never would have left.
Right. Yeah.
I would have been like, there's snow in the mountains. I can be all right.
Ooh.
But I love my snow in the mountains and getting some snowboarding in.
Yeah.
But Florida is flat.
Yep.
And people drive. People drive mock Jesus.
In that on Saskatchewan too, that we're so flat.
Yeah.
Topographically speaking, there's a 6-foot difference between the highest and lowest point, on average. So
really,
yeah. So we actually have places that are a little bit lower and a little bit higher. So although we took our mountains and we moved them west, we said, we don't want them in a way. We want to be able to see everything. So we just gave them all to Alberta.
Yeah, dude, we do a hike here that takes about just under 2 hours. It's a 2,300 foot gain in elevation, and it's brutal. It's like 100 flights of stairs, 3 steps at a time to the top of Aspen Mountain, Ajax Mountain.
Oh, that is sounds hard on the quads.
Yeah, it's hard on. I'm just huffing and puffing the whole way. Like, whose idea was this?
So in your professional opinion, Aspen, is that are the runs more geared towards kind of like advanced skiers, or
Aspen has 4 mountains. So the mountain that we're under, like when I throw my skis on my shoulder and walk a block to the gondola, it's mostly black and double black.
I hate you for that, but I love you.
I know, it's insane. It's insane. So it's mostly black and double black and on Ajax. Then
Okay.
as it goes
More technical.
steep and bumps,
Mhm.
there are no blue runs and no green runs. It's an expert only mountain.
Right.
Then as it goes further west, it gets a little bit more gentle. And the last mountain is very much more green. Like Buttermilk is a family. I've never even been there. It's mostly green and blue runs. It's a softer, gradual pace, So this one is legit,
Yeah. Stevens Pass is one of the mountains that I like, and they're predominantly blue, maybe like a blue black diamond hybrid.
Yeah.
And then they've got some black and double black. I think Seventh Heaven is a double black run that's up to the top, and it's probably open half the year, but it's like they've got moguls the size of Volkswagen bugs that you're bouncing through.
There's one here, Highlands, that they have a bowl at the top, and so you hike up. You strap your skis to your back, and you hike up. 45-minute hike. The hike is scarier than the skiing, and you get to the top, and all the flags are. It's windy, and there are a bunch of people up there, and it's double black diamond out of there.
Yeah.
And it just funnels. There's no grooming. It just funnels in. Eventually, you get down to a chair. At some point.
Stevens has a ungroomed backside that's pretty cool. You can get powder and stuff like that. And I think with snowboarding,
ungroomed backside
of the mountain,
like Shawn.
Yeah, it's. Your words, not mine, Kacee. That can't be.
This is on the front of the mountain, and it's ungroomed and just wild. It's the Wild West, and it's pretty scary. You got to know what you're doing if you go up there.
Because snowboarding, it's different than skiing, where you, in order to turn, like you need a little bit of speed to, because other than that, you're just scraping snow down the hill, and so having a little bit of that momentum to kind of cruise a little bit is sort of my style.
Yeah, double diamond, you got to control your speed because it's gonna get out from under you if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, double black, I would just
between the trees, so
I would just be hopping back and forth and just being like a little tight. Mexican jumping bean going. All right, I'm worn out.
Yeah, it's tight. You got to know what you're doing to come up here to that specific, to the Highland Bowl.
But Aspen is, I think Aspen and Vail are probably two bucket list resorts, probably right up there with Jackson Hole.
Sure. Yeah, Jackson Hole is really steep. It might be the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. No, I don't know what.
Jackson Hole, and then probably
steep like that.
I hear good things about Whistler, but I know it's expensive. So,
dude, nothing's more expensive than Vail right now. Vail's $300 a ticket for a day, and it's only open till 4:00. It ain't Disney to open till midnight.
That's the thing is Vail took over Stevens Pass as part of their big conglomerate and just killed it.
And lift lines in Aspen, you ski right to the chair and you get on the chair. There's no lift line. There's no maze to the gondola. You just walk right up.
That's what it was like at Stevens Pass. I've never waited more than probably a minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's 10 people in front of me. I can catch my breath and then chat a couple people up, and then all of a sudden, all right, here we go, we're off.
Yeah.
And
crazy.
So it's nothing like Southern California where you're like, I'm sitting here 20 minutes, and whatnot. But we've got some hypnosis to get to.
Let's do it.
So it is hypnosis time. Shawn's going to throw out our disclaimer of. If you are cooking dinner, operating heavy machinery, or driving, turn us off now. You can always come back and listen to us afterwards, because we want you to have undivided attention. And also be aware that probably the best thing is to be out of range of other furniture. Just kick back, relax, put your feet up. We're going to be nice and stable, because if you fall over, we're not going to know about it.
Why would you suggest such a thing?
I don't want to get sued. The little lawyer in me. I think Joe Beth would be inclined to agree. But absolutely.
We'll do a light transit. It won't be a heavy deep.
But before we jump into this, Christina says Chris Jones can make a tree hilarious. One of the kindest and smartest people I've ever had the honor to call my friend.
Absolutely.
Christina, I am in your camp.
Yeah.
So with that, Kacee, the screen is yours.
Let's do it. Cool. Okay, so let's see. Let me get centered real quick. Okay, take a nice deep breath in. And it's best to always start your hypnosis or meditations with a deep breath in and a longer exhale than your inhale. And when you take that longer exhale, it calms the vagus nerve because the vagus nerve is just behind the chest wall. So you press down on it physically, right? And again, so do another nice inhale and a longer exhale. Just breathing in, breathing out. Close your eyes and focus on your breath and my voice. It's so simple, just breathing in, breathing out, and relaxing. It's a great way to go into hypnosis, isn't it? Just breathing in, breathing out, and allowing yourself to feel that wonderful, calm, deep comfort as you do that. And this is such a wonderful way to enter hypnosis. It's so wonderfully cozy and very effective. And so this is a quick hypnosis to build boundaries, right? So we all have our skin. Everyone has skin. You and I and your loved ones. We have these layers of skin that cover our body, and they separate us from everything that isn't us. Our skin defines where we end and where others begin. It defines the inside of you from the outside of you. Your physical skin defines where you are and the rest of the outside world is, right? So our skin is a physical boundary between you and them. Our skin is strong and it's flexible. It allows things to penetrate and it keeps other things out. And we can even move things in and out through this skin. And that protects us and supports our health. It keeps a comfortable level of homeostasis as things move in and things move out of our boundary. And our skin is our physical boundary. It simply defines us and determines where we end and the rest of the world begins. And in almost this same way, we also have an energetic, psychological boundary, similar to this physical boundary. And this boundary also defines where we end and the rest of the world begins. It defines all the things that we can control and change and the things that we cannot control or change. It defines things that we can influence and the things that we cannot and the things that we must simply accept. So whatever is outside of our little sphere of influence, our little hula hoop, basically, it's not our problem, right? So when we're establishing boundaries, I want you to just for a moment, imagine, pretend, picture, and get a sense of your psychological boundary, as if it were an actual physical boundary. You might be able to sense it, you might feel it, you might see it, and you may simply imagine that it's there. And if you don't have a boundary, it's okay. We'll start to build one now. So imagining this boundary, what would your boundary be made of? It's totally personal. Everyone has their own definition of their boundary. And notice with every inhale that you become more and more aware of your psychological boundary that you're building and strengthening. And as you take a deep breath in, you become more and more aware of your beautiful psychological boundary. You can notice its condition, its state of repair or disrepair. You can notice where it needs strengthening, where it's protecting you best. With every breath in, you can fill any gaps and you can build it up and strengthen it, reinforce where it needs more strength. You can fortify your psychological boundary. So as you really begin to get a new sense of this really wonderfully strong boundary all around you, and notice also that there's an easy way of moving things in and out of your boundary. Now you'll notice with every breath out, anything that's on the inside of your boundary that's been there for a while, and you'll know what doesn't belong there. Anything that you cannot control, things that you can't influence. There are things and intrusive thoughts that no longer serve you. Might be an old habit or an old belief, somebody else's idea, somebody else's beliefs. These are things that have perhaps been holding you back. Maybe an opinion that you learned long ago, but you've learned new things since then. So notice with each exhale, with each out-breath, you can move those outside of your boundary. And you can do that consciously and subconsciously with the unconscious mind. There are things that you know the name of and things that you don't know how to name, or maybe even remember, even some feelings that you may not recognize. And that's okay. So every breath in, strengthening and building that boundary. And every breath out, moving the things outside of your boundary that need to be outside of your boundary, that have no place and no purpose on the inside of your boundary. Just notice how amazingly wonderful and good that feels. Moving things in, moving things out. And know, you'll notice anything that's on the outside of the boundary that you need to move to the inside. Look for them. New thoughts, new information, new learnings, new ways of doing things. With every breath in, you can move them in. And then as you do that, moving those other things out, notice you're feeling calmer. You're more at ease, more organized, more comfortable. Notice your breathing is more rhythmic and relaxed. Those old irrelevant things moving out. Beneficial, new, powerful, good things moving in. And noticing how that feels. It's like a wonderful spring cleaning within your mind. A fresh new space. Such an awareness of this amazing boundary. Now as you notice your boundary even more, becoming stronger, however it feels best to reinforce it, you can feel how wonderful that feels. Sense how amazing that feels. And notice that this is now so simply and easily attached to your breathing. This building your boundary and clearing it out, clearing out what no longer serves you. This new practice carries on even while you're sleeping, moving things in and out of your protective psychological boundary. Just feels so good, so wonderful, so amazing. Moving things in and moving things out. Each breath, every heartbeat. Now allow your mind, your wonderful, amazing imagination, this beautiful mind, to take you forward in time. See yourself in 6 months from now, where you can see yourself with this stronger, more defined boundary. Picture yourself a year from now, with your life flowing and easy with your beautiful, strong, flexible boundary. Noticing how you feel more confident, more at ease, less overwhelmed, more organized, more comfortable. Notice how wonderfully relaxed and comfortable that feels. That's right. In a moment, I'll count you back up to full consciousness with a wonderful awareness of that amazing boundary, and your eyes will open. At 1, taking a deep breath in. 2, remembering all the new learnings that are soaking in and integrating, marinating in there. 3, knowing that you always have at least 3 great solutions for any challenge that arises. And 4, coming back into your body, letting those little flakes in the snow globes settle into their new spots, that new integration in your brain, letting your body catch up with it. And 5, eyes open wide awake, feeling good about feeling good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open wide awake. Yay.
All right. So feel free to throw in the comments section how that experience was for you.
That's a beautiful boundaries process I learned from Kaz Riley. It's great for people that are struggling with relationships and not quite sure where they stand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the YouTube side of this, I threw some comments for following Chris Jones on YouTube, Tommy G Orlando, and Israel Mandrake.
Awesome.
Just those links, and then I will be sure to add a couple other folks in there.
On there.
Pardon?
Put Tina's up on there. Put Scott
Christina
McCall and the the Master Hypnotist Society on Facebook.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure Shawn will take care of that on some of the back end stuff too.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get a bunch of extra links. Actually, that is one of the jobs that I have over this next week, is making sure that we have guests beyond Christina. So we'll be connecting with everybody who's in our friend group, everybody who is an actual hypnotist. So, and there are lots out there. I'm kind of surprised that I've got over 1,000 people on Facebook now that I'm connected to that are hypnotists around the world doing great things. And again, more opportunity to connect and learn.
I mean, it's needed more than ever right now.
Oh, it is.
Oh, yeah. And Scott, what if you'll put in a link of how people can get in touch with you, either through your website or if you've got YouTube, Instagram, what your preference is to, if people want to do some of the recordings and have you set up a website for them, however we can promote you. You've done great work, obviously, for myself and for Kacee.
Scott King and Steve Supachana have bailed me out from the ocean. I can't tell you how many times.
That's another guy, Steve. I want to get on the podcast.
Yeah,
right.
I see him every so often on TikTok when I'm live, and he'll pop in and we'll chat a little bit. But definitely want to be able to get Steve on. We need Scott to come back on again as well. Yeah. I know Scott's got a few, like you said, a few things on the go that there is the hypnosis that we do, but then there's a business side to it that I think very few people understand before they jump in.
Right. I hate the business side. I just want to help people. I hate the marketing. I hate the numbers. I hate the technology. I hate the goddamn video.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do it without these guys. But you need to get Beryl Kumar and Barry, the British guy, Barry Neal, Kaz Riley for sure, Scott Sandlin from Hypnothoughts. There are a bunch of people in the Master Hypnotist Society that I could recommend that are just spectacular hypnotists, real good change workers, and just upstanding people.
Yeah, Scott, I just sent you a message. Go ahead and message me the links, and I'll get those posted for you. And Scott says I'm probably good around mid-August to come back on. We will get the link out to you.
Awesome.
It's
The first link that I send, Scott.
oh, you're sending that over to him right now?
No, it'll be the first one that I send.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Actually, you and I have to talk a little bit because we haven't been able to connect. You've been, on the road and whatnot. So I've got a whole letter ready to go. It's all professional, even.
Oh,
I know. It's like we're going pro or something.
oh God. We're moving on up to the north side. But
I can do that. I can do that walk. I just don't have that hair.
I will get the
Sherman
wig.
Hemsley.
We'll get you the wig. We'll get you the 70s outfit and everything. Platform
Listen,
shoes.
The last time I got dressed up in something other than my Starfleet uniform and regular clothing, it was university. And we raided at the college I was at. We raided the art department. So we had everything. I had the leggings. I walked around campus with a sword. Nobody said anything. Like I was straight out of a Shakespearean play.
Pictures or it didn't happen, Shawn.
Right?
Pictures. I don't believe
we didn't have that kind of technology back then. But I walked around all day. I had people congratulating me. Of the 35,000 people that were on campus, there's maybe like 24 that dressed up. So,
right.
And didn't get stopped by security. Nothing. And it was a real sword. Like this was not. It wasn't just this plastic prop sword or anything like that. It was
Holy cow!
a real metal sword.
Oh, wow.
Went to my classes. Got some congratulations there. The only side effect of all of that was letting the hair grow back after wearing the leggings. That was not fun.
So he's again back in the back, ungroomed. We're back to that.
Right.
It's all good.
Let's see. I need to copy the link for Scott. I want to.
You're shaking, Brian.
Oh, I'm typing into my. Let's see if that. There we go. Scott King's Facebook link on there. So yeah, Scott's a wonderful resource for getting 300 audios. Doing leveraging some AI voodoo magic. And with it, and it's very cost effective for the time. And Kacee, you hit the nail on the head. Working in one of the law firms I worked at previously, we dealt with a lot of businesses that were in trouble on one legal aspect or another, whether it was with labor and industries or the IRS, or just we did something wrong with human resources. It was the owners are really, really good at what they do as part of their craft, but they're not good at the administrative side. And there are so many business owners that don't recognize the value in hiring a CEO and an accountant and the professionals that are good at what they do with that aspect of the business. I'm like, you're still the owner of the company. If you hire a CEO, that's a CEO, and that's kind of your fall guy, for lack of a better term. You go, hey, we've got performance stuff. And they go, no, I can't be the CEO because that person's going to be higher up on the food chain. I'm like, dude, you're the owner of the company. It's your company. You can fire the CEO if you want. But if you're the one who's out doing the magic, you want really good people in your corner that are the best at what they do in that skill set.
Yeah, you can't do it all yourself.
You can't be an awesome videographer and film yourself on stage.
Right.
If you're sitting there stuck editing videos, you're not out, or you don't have a good marketing person. All right, let them market and schedule your next show while you're performing or getting some much needed rest.
Right.
or jumping on podcasts to promote, hey, this is my next show, this is what I'm doing. You be the face of your business and let other people help you along the way.
Totally.
And by doing that, you're giving them the ability, you're creating jobs, you're stimulating the economy, and you know, you're creating a means for people to support themselves.
True.
You know, what's better than that?
That's right. You need to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
What's your latest preneur?
No, I'm like, Shawn, you leave my preneur out of this, all right? for the terms and conditions of my probation, I'm not a.
Sometimes you pay someone for their skills, and sometimes you pay them for their network. That's 100% bang on.
Yeah.
And we're trying to build a network and be a resource for people within the community that we can bring folks together. And you know, Shawn, I've got some ideas that we'll talk about, and it may not just be hypnotists that we bring on.
Cool.
So, you know, we'll put our heads together and rub a couple of brain cells and try to melt some snow that's in Shawn's front yard.
No, there's no snow here. It's July.
Get Jason.
Very good.
It hasn't
finally
snowed in July
gone
here for over 100 years.
Get Jason on here. Jason O'Callahan.
O'Callaghan, that might be something where we were talking the same thing with Jeff Bennick, and you know, because Jason's over. Boone. Yeah, they're in Ireland and Jeff's in Amsterdam, and that may be something where we might do a
special episode.
Special episode Hypnosis Hero if we fly into Vegas early, or if one of them's attending Hypnothoughts, we might be able to say, hey,
Jaden will be there for sure.
Yeah, there's not a time difference, so you know what, take a couple hours with us on a Tuesday night.
Yeah,
while you're getting acclimated to time change and stuff like that. So
sure.
You know, I don't know how much sitting on a plane for however many hours they're gonna be like, yeah, I want to sit down in front of a computer. Like, no, I want to get up and walk. But yeah, I think that would be something that's more probably a little bit more palatable for them, as far as not having to wake up at 3 a.m. and chat with us. So
they've been up at 3 a.m. for less.
Yeah. So no, Tommy just messaged me on Facebook a little bit ago. He says, hey, great episode tonight. And he says, Kacee's a boss. Aww. So you've been, I'm pretty sure he's ordained or something like
Anointed.
That.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's we got it. Almost 8 o'clock. It's almost 8 o'clock my time. So
I know.
Time flies when you're having fun. Time.
So for the rest of us that where it is getting later and later, or in the case of
for me it's motorcycle 30. It's golden hour.
In the case of Becca, where it's getting earlier and earlier.
I mean she's been a trooper.
Yeah. We will make sure everybody.
Can't wait to meet you, Becca.
Yeah. Definitely. We definitely want her to be able to come out and experience the Performing Hypnosis Summit. Next week, we have the lady hypnotist, Christina J, is going to be here with us. And so until then, take care, stay well, and be awesome.
Thanks, you guys.
Good night, everybody.